Hi friends, it's Dawn the Recovery Lady here with tip 14. My name is Dawn, D-A-W-N like the morning. I am the Recovery Lady. I'm a behavioral health clinician and I am here living in the solution and sharing recovery tips to help you move forward and tips you can apply throughout your life. I am a recent empty nester. Physically for a while, emotionally now because I had a child get married, and I am currently applying all these tips that I've taught, learned, and practiced to other areas of my life into empty nesting. But I have broadened, as I said in the last couple of videos, broadened the blanket, if you will, by request, so you can apply these recovery tips to other areas. And just to start, if you haven't liked and subscribed below, please do. More subscribers, more likes, any shares mean it helps. I don't know what it means because I'm a clinician, not a IT person, but something about algorithms, and you can do more, see more, go higher in the search. Okay, last time in tip 13, that's Taylor Swift's favorite number. That was a good one to watch. We talked about comfort zones and how you can get stuck. And I used the example of a swaddled baby, how comfort zones are transitional, meant to keep you safe for a minute. You're not supposed to live there. And when we swaddle a baby, when they come out of the womb, it is a comfort zone for them. So helping them transition from the nice warm wound into the cold world. They weren't meant to stay there because if they did, that swaddling would deform them. And because many of us have stayed stuck in comfort zones for so long, we can become emotionally, psychologically disfigured because we haven't reached our full potential to what our higher power created us to do. I promised in the last tip I would touch on belief systems. Now, I know when I say belief systems, most people, clients, patients have told me they're thinking about religion and faith systems. And I can see how you would think that. But belief systems are an integral part of how we can get stuck in comfort zones. For example, however you were treated growing up, often, unless you have really had some serious interventions, self-imposed interventions to change it, how you perceive yourself. For example, if you were, and it's a false truth, it's a false belief system that was spoken to you, and it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You were told this, let's say, little Justin was growing up and dad or mom said, "You're a loser. You will never amount to anything. You are a loser. You're worthless." I'm going to tell you something. I ran a program for a while, few years, and it was for the overly affluent, for very wealthy folks. I've worked a couple of programs like that, where higher earners, physicians, attorneys came, and there were some big egos in that room, some big egos that walked in. However, and I'm not saying that big ego was equivalent to money, but they would often come in hiding behind the veneer of the money. Like, "Do you see me?" One guy said, "Do you know who I am?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know who you are. Have a seat." I'm not impressed by you. Because they get their value, and they are trying, so many of them were trying to prove their worth by their income. I had one guy who said his father told him that he was a loser, that he would never amount to anything. His father was deceased. And I remember this guy just kind of shrinking in this group session and just saying, "I just want to show him I'm more than that." And so his way of doing it, and I think he was probably in his mid-50s at that time, dad wasn't alive anymore, and he just kept pushing so hard. His addiction got worse because he was trying to please somebody who wasn't here anymore. That was a false belief system that was spoken onto him, that he was trying to prove to a person who wasn't even here anymore he was better than that. So our belief systems can affect they do affect our current behaviors. If someone treated you like a trash receptacle, you're going to treat yourself like a trash receptacle. If you haven't had a faith system, something come into your life to prove you otherwise, we end up living in the lie. And it is so important to do the work if you've had anything spoken to you or not spoken to you, if there were behaviors in your family of origin or foster system or grandma or whoever raised you, or I don't know, dude, you might have been on the streets, whatever was spoken over you and told to you, and it may not have even been spoken. It may have been like we talked about in the other tip, where you're just trying to survive an abusive environment and therefore you think that's all you deserve because that's how you were raised. And if I perform and I perform and I perform, then you'll love me. If I do this, you'll love me. We can do that with significant people in our life. Partners, parents, aunts, uncles, it carries into our employment. If I just do this, they'll love me and promote me. It's a matter of low self-esteem because negative beliefs were put on us, and because we didn't know anything else, we can repeat them. I have treated countless people in behavioral health, and I don't care how they present, high income, low income, there's nobody with a lower self-esteem than somebody with an active addiction. They're not proud of it. And you can always trace that back, and learning for them to do the work, for us to do the work to break that is a lot of work, but it can be broken. And I wanted to touch on this today because that pours into us getting stuck in those comfort zones and not thinking we deserve more than what we have. The better job, the better relationship, a better living environment. And I don't mean like getting a mansion. I mean safe, clean, something where you can just feel like yourself and you don't have to be all pumped up worrying about something. Negative beliefs are taught to us about ourselves. Faith is different. Belief system is not a faith system in behavioral health. It is often rooted in low self-esteem. And you would be surprised. A lot of people that appear with really big egos have the lowest self-esteem, and it's a mask. It's saying, see me, see me, see me. I have value. I have worth. And we can always trace that back pretty much almost all the time if the person's willing to go there. And you do that with a therapist. I told you, therapists will take you back, work through your trauma. Counselors will meet you where you're at, move you forward. You need both. You need both. So unmasking those belief systems, and you know, it may not be conscious. You may have been told something by a teacher, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, Miss Smith in 4th grade told me I was the worst math student she ever had. And then you couldn't pass math the rest of your life. It wasn't true. Miss Smith might have had a fight with her spouse that morning, or Mrs. Smith, and they just took it out on you. And that's the kind of stuff we carried around. Those things are the things that create the negative belief systems, and we kind of shroud ourselves in them. And we can spend our lives trying to prove otherwise without just going to the root of the problem and realizing, gee, that's not who I am. That person was lying. They were putting their negative stuff on me. And we get in comfort zones, stuck, like I think I talked about, just maybe working the line at the factory or the neurosurgeon. You just keep doing the same thing because you come from a line of doctors and you don't want to be a doctor. You want to be, a landscape architect because you love the grass and the green and you want to be out there and design it. But you come from a long line of cops or lawyers or doctors or factory workers or whatever it is. So you feel like you have to fit in that niche and you don't fit. And when you don't fit, when you're taking your square peg and putting it in that round hole to fill other people, because that was their belief for you, your life's going to be miserable. And you will settle for less, and you will start self-medicating in one way or the other, and you won't be your best self. I see this a lot with teachers. I've treated a lot of teachers. Love teachers. Most organized alcoholics I ever worked with. They drink from 4 to 8. They go to sleep. They can increase that amount in a shorter time. They're very organized in their recovery. I just love working with teachers in recovery. There's something that isn't getting filled. There's something they haven't dealt with. There's something from the past or the present that they just feel stuck, and in the moment they just want to feel good. So they drink or they use, or there's porn, or blah, 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 blah. Staying in the bad relationship, staying in the bad job, all of that. comes from negative belief systems. Negative input as a child will have negative results on how you view yourself, which will spill into the negative behaviors, because you doesn't matter how much education or intellect, you don't believe you deserve more. You can relearn to view yourself differently, and it's a lot of work. I've done this kind of work myself. It's a lot of work. And I got to tell you, the freedom on the other side is like nothing you'll have ever experienced. You get your troop, you find a safe tribe to go through this with, somebody to guide you, you can get to the other side. I have worked, like I said, I've worked with the overly affluent a lot, and all about possessions. I remember one guy was in treatment and he's like, oh, I had a loss he had a big financial loss, and we have to sell the Maui house. And now, empathetically, he's never had fewer than 3 houses. So this was a big loss for him. But dude, then the person across the table, is couch surfing because they can't even pay for rent. So it's a matter of perspective. I just tell you that so that you understand, if you hear something like that, it's real to them and it's based on their life. And to him, that was a big loss because he had an expectation that he had to have that or his worth was lower. So when you hear stuff like that, I know it's easy to say, I can't even pay the gas bill. We just don't want to tear each other down in the recovery system. But we do want to validate people. Guys, it is so simple to be kind. It is so simple to just validate someone. Use positive psychology, give them 3 compliments and then a correction. If it's like your employee, but don't just tear people down. This world is so hard, and we are here to live in the solution. So that's what I wanted to say about belief systems, because those belief systems lead to the comfort zones that keep us so stuck we can't move on. It's a lot, but moving out of your comfort zone is like getting a new habit. You might think you need to drive home on this freeway every day, this way, and that's your habit, and you're not going to change it. But one day the road's closed and you drive home a different way, and you find it's a prettier view, it's more relaxing. Maybe you meet the love of your life at a gas station. I see this stuff all the time. So I want to encourage you to embrace change. Know that your worth and your value are not based on your income, whether it's low or whether it's high. Where I live, there's a lot of people in the area that are just have a lot of things. And I heard a very wise man say, you never see a hearse pulling a U-Haul. Look at what you've got. Let yourself grow. Be sure you're blessing others. And I want to tell you, where you are now is not going to last forever. We have so much research. We know why things have happened, and behaviorists and clinicians and your pastors and counselors want to help you move forward. Oh, I know these topics have been intense, but I'm hoping it makes a difference. Okay, like and subscribe. I'm Dawn, the Recovery Lady. Thank you for joining me for tip 14 on comfort zones. We've done a lot of work on change, comfort zones. I'm sorry, this week was belief systems, actually. They all kind of go together, but I wanted to break them up into little chops. I believe in you guys. You got this. Please write notes. Tell me what you want to hear, and please tell me how you've broken free from some belief systems and some comfort zones. Love you guys. Bye.